Hi, this is Hunter with Mod Bikes, and if you're watching this, you probably just purchased one of our electric bicycles. Today I'm going to be showing you how to properly unpack and assemble your new ride, so let's jump right in and get you on the road. Today we're going to be assembling one of my favorite bikes, the Mod Berlin. This sleek and lightweight bicycle was designed for the avid road cyclist and commuter. Now the assembly process is going to take about an hour, and we always recommend that you get your bike professionally tuned and assembled by an actual mechanic. But if you'd like to do the work yourself, we're going to go through all the necessary steps in this video. The next step will be to open up the top of the box, and with the help of a friend, you're going to want to lift the bike up and out of the box. That being said, be sure not to damage the box, just in case you might need it in the future. Now, most of your bike will already come pre-assembled, but you should also find your front wheel and fender, a box with your charger, and another box with your pedals and a bag of tools that you can use for assembly. Now, you may also receive an additional package if you've ordered any other accessories such as locks, bags, helmets, child seats, or baskets. Now let's take a look inside the tool pouch. Inside your tool pouch, you should find the quick release for your front wheel, an adjustable wrench, and a multi-tool. Your multi-tool contains a tire spoon for changing tires, a chain link tool for lengthening and shortening your chain, a flat head and a Phillips head screwdriver, a T25 size torque wrench, and a set of Allen wrenches. Now that we have everything unpacked, we're ready to start building. Before we attach the front wheel, we will need to remove the fork protector as well as the brake pad spacer that protects your caliper during shipping. Please be very careful with the fork once the fork protector is removed. Do not pull on your brake levers once you remove the brake pad spacer. You can try them out once we have installed the front wheel, but these are hydraulic brakes and the brake pads will get stuck together if they are activated without a rotor or a pad spacer between the brake pads. To attach the front wheel, we must first remove the threaded cap and one of the springs. Next, we will insert the skewer rod through the wheel's axle. Place the spring back onto the skewer rod, ensuring that the smaller end is touching the wheel's axle, followed by the threaded cap, which should be placed on the skewer rod as loose as possible. Next, we will place the bike on its kickstand. Then, we will need to align the wheel's rotor with the brake caliper, carefully sliding the rotor between the brake pads as we move the wheel up and into the fork dropouts. We can now secure it by turning the threaded cap until we get tension, and then pulling the quick release lever until it's flush with the side of the fork. The quick release lever should take some effort to close. Now you can go ahead and remove the packing materials from your bike, as it should be sturdy enough to stand upright with the kickstand extended. Now that the front wheel has been securely attached to the frame, we will move up the fork and attach the handlebars. To install the handlebar, remove the 4 bolts securing the handlebar clamp plate with a 4mm Allen wrench. With the stem plate removed, we can now place the handlebar into the handlebar clamp, ensuring that the shifter should be on the rider's right side of the bike. Go ahead and center the handlebars inside the clamp, but do not worry about getting proper handlebar rotation, as we have a few more steps to go through. Tighten the 4 clamp bolts enough to secure the handlebars, but leave them loose enough so that we can adjust the rotation of the handlebar when the time comes. Next, we need to align the stem with the front wheel. To do this, we will use our 4mm Allen wrench to loosen the 2 pinch bolts that secure the stem steerer clamp to the top of the fork steering tube. With the pinch bolts loose, we can now turn the stem around so that it is pointing forward and aligned with the front wheel. You may find it easier to secure the front wheel between your legs while turning the stem. Once the stem has been properly aligned, we need to tighten the cap bolt with a 5mm Allen wrench. Make sure to leave the pinch bolts loose while tightening the cap bolt, as the cap bolt cannot be tightened unless the pinch bolts are loose. You need to get the cap bolt tight, but not too tight. If the cap bolt is too tight, you will have a difficult time steering the bike, and if the cap bolt is too loose, your fork will not be secured and you will be in for a wobbly ride. Once the cap bolt has been tightened, you can use your 4mm Allen wrench to tighten the 2 pinch bolts on the side of the stem steerer clamp. Now we will go ahead and adjust the angle of the stem. To do this, we need to loosen the pivot bolt on the side of the stem using our 5mm Allen wrench. Be careful not to loosen the bolt too much as it is spring-loaded. You may need to wiggle the handlebars to free the locking mechanism, but once it's loose, we can go ahead and adjust the angle of the stem. We recommend raising the stem all the way to the 90-degree position, but feel free to adjust it to whatever position feels comfortable. Now that our stem's been raised, we can tighten the pivot bolt. Now we can go ahead and make the final adjustments on the handlebar rotation. For the moment, ignore the position of the display as well as the brake and shifting levers, as they may need to be adjusted as well. Instead, focus on getting the actual handlebar centered and rotated to a position that feels the most comfortable. Now we can go ahead and tighten the 4 bolts on the stem's handlebar clamp. Make sure to get these bolts in tight, but be careful not to overdo it, as you could end up stripping the bolt's threads or the drive on the bolt's head. Next, we will make the final adjustments to the display and the handlebar accessories. To attach your display, pull back and open the 2 adjustment arms, looping them around the handlebar one at a time. Next, orient your screen into the proper position, and then tighten it down with your 2.5mm Allen wrench. Next, we're going to connect the display connector. Ensure that the arrows are aligned before connecting, and then turn the barrel screw to tighten it. Now it's time to install the control buttons. Unfold the mechanism and attach it to the handlebar. Then close the mechanism and secure it by tightening the screw with a 2.5mm Allen wrench. There are also 2 adjustment screws on the sides of the display that you can loosen to adjust the angle of the display, but we recommend that you do not remove them all the way, as they can be tricky to get back into place. To adjust the position of the brake levers and the shifter, we will need to use a 4mm Allen wrench to loosen the brake levers and a 5mm Allen wrench to loosen the shifter. Adjust the angle of the brake levers so that your wrists rest comfortably in a straight line with your arms while sitting on the bike. Once the brake levers have been adjusted and tightened, you can easily move the shifter into proper alignment with the brake lever and tighten it into place with your 5mm Allen wrench. The phone holder can be adjusted without any tools and comes with multiple adjustment levels so that it can fit on different sized handlebars. You want to place the first part of the clamp on the top part of the handlebar, and then attach the second part of the clamp onto the proper adjustment level, and then tighten it down by spinning the barrel adjuster. Once tight, we can now attach the threaded cap, followed by the rubber grommet and the spring-loaded adjustment arms. These arms will grip the sides of your phone, and the rubber piece can be stretched around to secure the 4 corners of your phone. Our next step will be to attach the front fender and the headlight. Begin by removing the back nut where the headlight is attached to the fork. Place the attachment loop in the middle of the fender around the back of this bolt, and then replace the nut. This loop has a lot of room for adjustment, but we recommend that you raise the fender as high as possible before tightening the nut in order to prevent the fender from rubbing against the tire. With the fender in place, use your adjustable wrench to tighten the nut. You may need to hold onto the light while you do this so that it does not twist out of proper alignment. Now that the top of the fender has been attached, use your 4mm Allen wrench to remove these 2 bolts just above the fork's dropouts. Place the bolts into the loops of the fender struts and attach them back into the fork. Ensure that they are in tight, and then check that the front fender is properly aligned with the front wheel. If the fender is twisted, you can try to gently bend it into position with your hands. If the fender is rubbing against the tire, you can also try to adjust it by lightly bending the fender struts. The final step will be to install your pedals. Your pedals should each be marked with an L or an R. The L pedal will go into the rider's left side of the bike, and the R will go into the rider's right side. Be careful when initially threading the pedals into the crank arms. Unlike most threaded parts, your left pedal is tightened by turning clockwise, and the right by turning counterclockwise. Use your hands to screw the pedals into the crank arms, and then tighten them both into place with your adjustable wrench. That concludes our assembly guide for the Mod Berlin. We hope you found this video helpful. If for any reason, something doesn't look or sound right, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Now, it is possible that your gears and brakes might make a little bit of noise for the first few weeks of operation. It typically takes about 60 miles to fully break in everything. We also recommend that you take your bike in to get fully tuned every 500 miles to 4 months or so. That way you're keeping safe on the road. That said, I really hope you enjoy your new bike. Stay safe and welcome to the Mod Bikes family. For more information on how to properly maintain and use your bike, please refer to the user guide and visit our help center located on our website for more information on your bike.